Hey guys, welcome to my first analysis video of the London RLCS Major. You guys voted down below that you wanted to see this series be analyzed on my Twitter at NickOnRL, and we're going to be talking about BDS versus Team Falcons. BDS has been the fan favorite, I would say on paper, to win this major. Probably them with Vitality, and Falcons. This team is absolutely adored and loved for getting so close and never getting it over the line and winning an international LAN. Could this be the time? I'm not sure. They look absolutely incredible, but they didn't look like they came in very well prepared for this series. One thing that was the story of this game one is the BDS counterattack. BDS's counterattacks are absolutely lethal. What we see on this first goal is an overcommitment a second man. It's not the most creative play, and it puts TRK in an absolutely terrible spot where he either has to dive or play the whiff. Doesn't play the, or he ends up playing the whiff. Jolly ends up hitting it. It leads to a goal. Very, very awkward moment for Falcons, and we saw more of these counterattacks over and over again that led to goals for Team BDS. For example, this play, it's the same type of structure where we see Roas and Clears pretty much even in a straight line, and it's so easy for one touch that TRK is in no man's land for the second time in this game, and it leads to Exotic making his touch. Roas makes a mechanical error, which mechanical errors happen, but they get starved out because of how much boost they expand on this first attack where they go all in. Roas, you can see, only has half a tank here. That's relatively normal, but TRK just in no man's land. One bang takes him out of it. Roas runs out of boost trying to get this ball. It's a very, very easy counterattack for this Team BDS. At BDS, man, they are lethal with these counters. And once again, on offense as well, you see TRK just basically dive, puts Roas in no man's land once again, and it's crazy, a minute and 22 left, but we've already seen it 3 times in game 1. There's a little bit of, okay, you have to do this because, you know, you're down 3 goals. But the fact BDS are able to execute pretty much on every counterattack means they are a total threat for teams that are undisciplined. Where do I see that going in this tournament? I think on stage they'll have a lot of success playing this type of style. General Mates also plays the same type of style where they pretty much punish you on every mistake, as opposed to really overextending. But there is drawbacks with this BDS style where it's very hard when teams try and match you, because I don't necessarily think they have the absolute most creative offense. I don't think they have the most physical offense, and it's going to be very hard for them to break down certain teams, which we'll see later in this series, which is really where Falcons turn everything around. So let's get into it. This is game 2, and we just started talking about the Falcons style and where it really allowed the space to open up for BDS. But this game 2, there was a huge shift in how Falcons are playing as we see them take this game and the next game. Much deeper second man from Roas and Clears, and the first man is doing so much more work for Falcons to force this ball back. And it allows them to kind of isolate into these plays where the first man is taking 2 out on his own, and then at this point it's just basically an open net that they have to execute. But that little change in how they play their second man allowed them to suffocate and really dominate BDS. And it's really important, even on goals they aren't scoring, like for example, we'll go through this play, that they absolutely dominate. Their second man's just playing a little bit deeper. He's not diving like you see Roas here. We'll even go to his point of view to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. He gets the demo. There's no thought to just dive. He holds this wall for an extra second, which gives TRK enough time to get out. So when the challenge does come, TRK is already back in position. And oh my, we've gone over it 1,000 times with the gentlemen, so you don't need me to tell you again. Your first attack comes, ball comes back to the second, and you pass it across to TRK. Does it go in this time? No, but if you've seen it where general mates do this thousands of times a game, the chances come, right? Not every time does it go in, and you know that's life. But the fact you're giving players like TRK these opportunities, man, it's so difficult to play against. And even here with Roas once again, it's not diving. He's making Jolly awkward that he has to eventually dive or throw away the ball. Jolly is in a guessing game. He ends up losing the ball and throwing it away. And now this is what Falcons' bread and butter truly is, in my opinion. that once they get on the attack, they are absolutely ruthless. They're so creative, so smart. And we'll see it on the second goal here, that they have 1,000 different weapons in their arsenal. TRK going for an air dribble, and he just leaves it. There's so many fake opportunities. They're willing to send the bus, and after they do one fake, oh my. We'll go to TRK's point of view here because it's just so beautiful. They're willing to just fake the ball. There's the fake one, forces that extra little bit of space that Monkey Moon has to respect. And instantly the fake comes in, slows it down, controls, gets it over one. Clears, it's a little bit of the same. He fakes the challenge. They're very quick to get out, and it allows Rawas the space because they've conditioned them that they're not going to dive. They're going to be there, and they're going to make it difficult to just simply be a Rawas. And what an outplay this is. I love it from TRK's point of view. Up and over exotic. And these fakes and this ability that they have so much more control as second man has created so many more opportunities for them to attack and dominate this game too. And we're going to see even more of it in game 3. So, we get into game 3. This was quite an entertaining game. 1-1 in the series, obviously. There's plenty of chaos to go around. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be very thrilling. This one actually turned out to be a 3-2 game. And I want us to just kind of go over how much what we talked about in the last game then played out to this game. Once again, right from the start, we see this aerial fake. And just because Rawas is on the ball, it commands so much respect from BDS. And we see it here where Drali can't go in case Rawas has boost. And obviously we're watching it back when we can see he does not have boost. But it's really impossible for him to know in the moment. Once again, another one of these aerial fakes. Is Clears going to go for the outplay? No. Slows it down, lets TRK in. And the first man is just doing so much more. There's even a little hesitation on the challenge here from Clears, and we'll zoom out a little bit more. Make it a little bit easier for you guys. Challenge comes in, first man does more. TRK has the opportunity to do anything as first man. 50s it back, and we see where the twins are, and it creates these little gaps that they're always able to win the challenge game. Once again, Clears slows down Monkey Moon, absolutely gets him flat-footed. And the important thing to recognize about this play is the fact that they have trained them to essentially give up the space. Means they have so many opportunities to be as creative as they want and really force the issue of how they want to score. When it does go wrong, though, unfortunately, is goal 2. And we see this here. Clears goes for the fake. Just a terrible touch by TRK. Clears doesn't get out quick. That's one thing we mentioned earlier. Falcons were getting out quick. Instead of Clears going for this back boost here in the top right-hand corner of your screen, he'd usually be bumping Drily, just trying to make it a little bit more chaotic for him. If he's bumping Drily here, this is no issue at all for Falcons, in my opinion. But it's that little lack of discipline that's like, now what do I do? And boom, Rawas is in no man's land, and it leads to that goal. That's what we talked about a lot. Those little throwaways on offense led to the counterattacks in BDS, man. It's their bread and butter. They capitalize on counter after counter after counter. This is halfway through the game, halfway through game 3. I don't think there's much to analyze with this goal, to be honest. TRK trusts the pass from Clears. Clears makes a mistouch. They happen, right? There's a goal later in this game that BDS just makes a mistouch. To me, I don't think those are really worth analyzing. I don't think it's really fair. Because at the end of the day, yes, they're pros, but stuff can happen, right? You guys have played the game long enough. Mechanical mistouches are happening. But overall, they were still very dominant. So this goal is really what sets the tone in just how good this team is. The fake here, once again from Rawas. These aerial fakes, man, are elite. Wow. And space opens up. TRK's able to do whatever he wants. It's so good, man. He's so brilliant. And just wow. Right? It's not really any crazy execution off the outplay. Ball force mid, forces the 50. They don't give up the space. They're not really allowing them that space, so they dive on it. And then even still, Rawas has the opportunity to do whatever he wants, and it leads to a goal. So then comes the Game 3 overtime winner. It's relatively early in the game. It comes off the kickoff. The one thing I mentioned is just seeing how this attack starts. This is what we talked about a lot. TRK and Rawas both sitting very disciplined. TRK pushes forward once he realizes the ball is being thrown away. and he's just an option, right? He allows Rawas to make his decision. The way the pressure started's good, but it's just a really, really bad whiff from a player you don't expect it from that gets them this goal in Game 3. So now it is do or die for Team BDS. They're down 2-1 in the series, and hopefully we can see a resurgence from them. And this is what I want to point out, because I'm usually quite critical of teams specifically in this area as the second man, which in this case is Drawley. This flip forward is absolutely fatal, and people will say, oh, why? We saw it in Game 1, specifically with Team Falcons. This is BDS's mistake. Overcommits too far, and it just leaves this huge gap of space. Monkey Moon is he's screwed, realistically. Like, Drawley is getting back. Drawley's just going to throw himself at this ball every time because he's panicked. It's basically a 3-on-1. Monkey plays the shot across goal, but all doesn't come across goal. He's screwed. It's a goal. Now, why is that so important and so relevant? BDS then score because of how they play their second man, which is actually right here, where, funnily enough, it's Drawley again. They allow Exotic to make the space, and you notice what's not covered. Top of the box. Drawley, instead of being caught too far forward, he's able to just full dive at this, get at least a 50. But because TRK is nowhere to be seen, he's very uncomfortable. Drawley has a free shot and leads to an open net. And just like that, the game's tied. Now, this is probably the big remembrance for at least Game 5 as well, is how they run this offense and how they're able to keep pressure. BDS is very disciplined in their offense. They don't send a lot. They're very much defense first. But I think the really critical part of how it was working was plays like that from Drawley, where we'll just run it back. He's able to sweep through. And this is so important at high level because of how good defenses are. He sweeps through, he forces Rawas awkward. And suddenly, all the Falcons are at the near post. They're starving themselves out. We look at this play. Rawas has 50. Clears is about to pick up 100, so because of how slow they play, it kind of negates it. TRK low boost. First man makes his play, then they dive. There's no real force forward. Every now and then they will break structure and win. But they're not doing anything crazy. See, they sit very deep. They allow Falcons to have the ball. They're set up to just deny counterattacks. Drawley has all the space in the world. He's going to make his play as first man. Finally, a bit of a dive from Exotic. But the only time they really send their second is off bumps. Like what we saw with Monkey Moon off the sidewall. Drawley was going for an air dribble bump pass, which then allowed Monkey Moon to commit. They don't send their second without physicality. I would like to see a little bit more physicality from their offense, like we see here from Drawley, taking TRK out of the play. Monkey Moon free double, doesn't hit it, but it doesn't matter. Exotic's there to finish it off. And this is going to become very relevant in Game 5, and we'll look at that in the OT. But BDS is able to hang on and force a Game 5 in this series. Very back and forth. BDS win 1, they drop 2, then they force the Game 5. It's all over the place, right? Very entertaining series. I see why you guys wanted me to review it. And it is a very good tactical masterclass for both coaches. So shout out to whom and shout out Casio for that. And let's get into Game 5. Alright, let's kick off Game 5 here. The pressure is absolutely on both these teams. It's a huge difference in a Swiss to be 2-0 versus 1-1. Obviously, one game away versus potentially losing your next series and being in a position you may get eliminated. Or at least be on your elimination game, which anything can happen in those. And right from the get-go, we see Falcons. Probably this is their bread and butter, these aerial fake plays. And it's so good from Clears. The first man to do so much. He takes 2 men out of the play. And then it's just on Rawas to make the right decision and TRK to be the Elite Ones player he is. But it all comes from how disciplined this setup is. And we see these patterns so often. Bang, 2 men deep. TRK dives a little bit deeper. That's fine. If he gets beat, guess what? TRK is still pulling up this ball deep. Rawas plays a little bit closer. He's able to get the speed. Bang. TRK low 50-50. If you've ever watched him in ones, you will know TRK in a 50-50. He's simply inevitable, to be honest. But Falcons weren't inevitable. Huge mistake here from Rawas, but also an even bigger mistake from Clears. I'm really not sure what happened this play, and it's very rare that I'm stumped. I think he was just trying to make a mechanical touch, probably trying to get a soft touch, maybe go for an air dribble bump after the touch. He made a mistake, right? So and it's not really that big of a deal. And like, if you're going back and doing a replay review, you're not gonna be like, well, Ross, you should have made a better touch. Like, he knows. Obviously, it's very frustrating to give up a goal like that, and for Falcons to show their mental resilience to get back into this series is really, really quality, because there was a lot of times in previous majors or previous international lands that you would see this team be some of the biggest momentum teams. Like, I think when you think back to London last time, they had series they would go 3-0 up and it would still force Game 7 because they couldn't get it over the line. But they win. And I think you guys know that if you're watching it back. They do win. Sorry to spoil it. But this is the critical factor, and this is where I want to explore. BDS and their offense in this Game 5 OT, and it comes down to the BDS structure of what they prioritize. Right from the get-go. This is a kickoff that's kind of hard to analyze kickoffs, but you'll see it after. No one really going for physicalities. These little passing plays work, but they only do so much where Monkey Moon's just forced to pretty much give away the ball. And BDS don't necessarily pressure it as much as they could. They're very slow in their challenge games. They're prioritizing boosts. They're prioritizing denying counterattacks. So even when they get on the offense here, for example, don't even think about the mistouch. What I would prefer, or what I think would work better for BDS, is if Drawley is sending this ball and he's just trying to sweep through and hit clears. Not even Rawas. Rawas either has to go up the wall, and if he goes up the wall and Drawley's able to dive, he'll get a dunk. And if he throws it away like this, he's bumping clears as Exotic takes this free shot. But because he hesitates, it forces Exotic to hesitate. And Monkey Moon tries to play this pass. This should have been game. Should have been done right here. Huge mistake from Drawley. Exotic is able to get back. This is an even bigger mistake from Monkey Moon. We've been talking about how deep these Falcons have been sitting. And the only way to truly counter that is to just kind of force them to come to you. Keep control of the ball or just bang it over all of them. The little mistouch, and we know how good this duo has been. The passing lane that we talked about earlier, we said it would come back to bite you. And they get away with it. The skin of their teeth, man. It was so frustrating and heartbreaking to watch that TRK hit the inside of the crossbar, because he also had the chance on the dunk to end it. Once again, potential mistake there from Exotic, just handing the ball away. But OT, finally we see the sweep through on offense. Finally. They get the demo. Drawley's up for the solo play. He goes for physicality. And Exotic just hesitates. There's no trust in what they were doing. It was too slow. And they had the physicality to execute. They committed to it 90%. And this is the last thing BDS want to see, where they hesitate. They don't full commit to it, and they've starved themselves out on offense. And bang, 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 Rawas calls a game and sends Falcons to the 2-0 round. Thank you guys so much for watching this. You guys have shown insane support on the analysis videos, and I hope to keep pumping these out. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. I'm going to be uploading daily during the major and the day after to try and give you guys 1 or 2 series that you want to watch back. So if you're watching this after day 2, let me know some series down below, and I'll usually put a poll out on my Twitter, NickOnRL. And thank you again so much. Let's enjoy day 2 of London, guys.